episode. I did not want them to open that door. Man, but I'm also like, good stuff is about to happen. Are you guys excited for episode 2? Are you excited to meet this A+++++? It is an absolute honor to lead the conversation today with your fellow colleagues, the actors for the SAG-AFTRA Foundation. So, without further ado, let's please welcome Mr. Terrence Howard.
Thank you. Thank you for enjoying the last hour of our hard work.
I hope I don't get in trouble for saying this, but I have to say it. Sam motherfucking Jackson.
Hey. Go easy.
Taraji P. Henson. Mr. Cheadle. And of course, Chicken Man himself, Mr. Kevin Hart.
Hello.
Speaking of the fans in the house for the first episode of Fight Night, which is streaming now on Peacock.
Yes.
So because we're in the house that SAG-AFTRA built, and I love the opening bit of the the SAG Awards, where the actors answer, "I am an actor because." So starting with you, Kevin, can you share when you discovered your love for the stage?
I share when I discovered my love for the stage. My love, appreciation, admiration came from watching Eddie Murphy and the early 80s, and just watching the transformation from comedian to movie star, mega star, etc. And I think the want to somehow get the opportunity to get there, that's where it started. So Eddie Murphy, for sure.
That's interesting. My family tells me that I was, trying to be an actor for longer than I can remember. I think I was just a knucklehead, just a fool, just acted out a lot. They're like, you better be an actor because that's the only way that shit's gonna work for you. So I don't really remember when it started, but I know that it kind of really congealed for me when I was in high school. I had a really good theater teacher, and we wrote plays, and we read all the classics, and we worked on a lot of different stuff. And then I went to California Institute of the Arts and continued my studying. And once I graduated, I did a lot of theater, and it just was a snowball that kept rolling downhill. When did you first admire Don Cheadle?
Not because I wanted to get out of the hood. No, that's not why I'm like. I probably had ADHD when I was a kid, but there was no diagnosis. You know what? I digress. I was just a very special child. I had a lot of energy. I was very rambunctious, and I'm just grateful to God that I had educators in my life that knew how to funnel and channel that energy, because we didn't have money, so I didn't go to private school. I didn't know about art schools, we in the hood. And so I went to the public school, and God just placed angels in my life. And I remember the first time, it was kindergarten, and I had been put in the graduation, and I sang, I did something, because I was a very loud kid, and I did something, and the audience laughed, and I was like, oh shit. That's power. It happened again in the 5th grade when they used to beat your ass in school for being bad. I used to always get spanked in my hand by a stack of rulers, and my 5th grade teacher, Ms. Lane, got tired of spanking me, and she put me on the stage. And every time that kept happening, it happened again in the 7th grade. Then it got to high school, and I didn't get into Duke Ellington School of Fine Arts, and I thought that meant I couldn't act. So I made a detour, went and tried to take up electrical engineer. Somebody needs to hear this. She said when, and I have to tell you when. I haven't gotten there yet. Why? Because the universe kept putting me in these places. That's not how I want to end it. I'll tell you guys on my live later. Sam is a hater.
Mr. Jackson.
I am an actor because it's what helped me to survive the life that I was placed into on this planet. When I was a child, I stuttered very badly. I pretended to be a person who did not stutter, and it changed everything. So I learned to act at a very early age, and it was part of my survival, and it's been part of my survival ever since.
I want to be an actor. Well, I guess I am an actor. But I want to be a good actor, but I became an actor because I watched my great-grandmother, Minnie Gentry,
Yes.
who Sam worked with and had known. I've known Sam since I was 8 years old.
I thought you were asking.
But my great-grandmother, she did a play called Ain't Supposed to Die a Natural Death.
Yes.
And I got to watch that performance, and
Put a curse on you.
yes, when she put a curse on that audience, there's a magic that she did, and there was a captivating nature of it, and I wanted to know how to harness that magic. I wanted to know what that power was, and so I dove into acting and became an actor so I could know that taboo world, you know? So that's why I'm here.
Yep.
Thank you all for sharing your origin story. Fight Night is a story of a storied night in Atlanta history that was widely unknown until now. So how did you go about playing these real life characters to be authentic? Because I know a lot of them had passed on. Are any of them living still?
JD's not. Chicken Man
Chicken Man is sure.
So what did you do to make it? I'll start with you, Kevin. Being that you are the star and executive producer, what did you do to make sure that this was going to be a story told authentically?
I think the biggest thing, of course, was just educating yourself on the story. There was a podcast that was done that was extremely informative, and also we had great showrunners, great producers, and great directors that were really a part of the early stages of collaboration when we were talking about how to address the character and, you know, where we wanted to fall and what line we want to operate off of. So it wasn't just, you know, my decision and my decision only. It was a collaborative effort of how we can make the character as grounded as possible and, you know, not come off cartoonish in any way. You know, make sure we balance the comedian of it all with the seriousness of Chicken Man's life, the spiral downfall.
Thank you, Steve. And with these roles, you guys are an amazing ensemble cast. I know a lot of stories have come out. It's like a reunion, but talk to me about being on set. Was it easy or hard working together, being reunited?
Well, I'll take that one because I actually have worked with everybody up here prior to this series, and I was really excited to get back in the sandbox with everybody. And you know, making everything is hard. It's hard to bring all this stuff into fruition and to push it out and to really do what it takes to hold the line and make sure that you're doing it with integrity. And it's like trying to, you know, control an explosion that's happening as it's going, or trying to build a bridge as you're driving over it. It's always that. And so, as Kevin said, we had a really good production team, and you can see in the show that, you know, hair, makeup, the set design, you know, the cars, the props, everything helped us to kind of be grounded and feel like we were really where we were, so we could just, you know, get into the characters and do the acting. But yeah, I think it's always hard. I think it's always a struggle, and these two people right here can attest to that. Producers that we have, but yeah, back to that. We have a lot of support, and I think that came a long way to help us to realize this.
And what, and anyone can jump in and ask, what was the personal research that you did for your character? Especially being that, they're no longer with us.
Well, it's great because there's footage of J.D. Hudson. The podcast that Kevin mentioned, he talks a lot, he speaks a lot through it. So there was a lot of stuff to dig into, and people who knew him, So I was fortunate in that way that I had a lot of research material to deal with. But Shay, who wrote it, created it, that's the Bible, and that's what we really take our cues from. This version of this story. This is based on a true story. It's not a 100% true story, but a lot of the groundedness comes from what we had to work with. You can answer that.
That's all talk.
Yeah, pretty much speaker.
Agent call? We got a gig? What's that?
Dealer.
Oh, after that one.
Taraji, what about you for Vivian?
Well, she was loosely based. So for me, I just asked the question why until I reached the answers. I love taking on period pieces because it's like going back in time. You can try to dream about it, but it's actually, you get all the prompts and all the things you need to really be there. And I like it because you get to switch up the tempo, your rhythm, the way you move through the universe is very different the way we move back, the way they moved back in the 70s. Well, I was born, I was just a baby in the 70s. I just got here. But you know what I mean, the rhythm and the tempo and the way people talked. And the 70s is my favorite era because it's the fashion. I love to put an afro on and a bell bottom, So for me, it's the why, it's the who. That's all I do is I ask why. Well, why did she say it like that? Why is she with Chicken Man? Why did she choose this life? Because life is choice driven. So I get to her choices.
And I just want to stay with you for one more moment because, you played an iconic character, Cookie, from Empire. But when you saw Vivian, what was your thought process to make sure that you were not going to play her like Cookie?
Absolutely. So,
she has some cookieisms.
no, she had a lot of cookieisms, but for me, I'm always interested in how someone stands up for themselves, right? Or not, right? Let's take a character that I played before, like Katherine Johnson. She was a very strong woman, but in a very different way. Hers was in numbers, and her strength was cerebral. She was very smart. So that's how she used her strength. She was very, wow.
Just take a moment to
Y'all
everyone
got
say
my
my
eyes. Why y'all here? Somebody's looking for you. You gonna be wasting your time with us. I'm not trained to thought. Cookie, and I made her different because Cookie wears her heart on the sleeve. She's gonna tell you exactly, you gonna know exactly how she feels about you. Katherine Johnson would never, Vivian operates in the world of men. She's no punk, but there's a special way she has to speak up for herself. You women, you know how we have to operate in a room, in a set. I had no issues. But I'm just saying, especially when you're doing business, when there's business involved, numbers, money, drugs, numbers, illegal shit. There's a certain way you have to. We can't be emotional. You have to keep your emotions in check, poker face, if you want to get things done. And that's the difference between. She said she wanted to stay with me for a minute. And I don't get my minutes back.
My bad. I would like to relegate 5 minutes of my time.
You get to say what you want to say. You see what I'm saying? I'm on Cookie if you ain't know.
Sam, on the carpet last night, both Will Packer and Shay mentioned that you were the de facto researcher for Fight Night because you were in Atlanta when this happened. You and LaTanya were married near there. Why was it important for you to speak up and let the cast know and the creators know what needed to stay real and what wasn't?
I wasn't bothering the cast. I wanted to tell the people who were in charge, who had an obligation to depict Atlanta in a particular way, and know that people in Atlanta are going to watch this thing, and they're going to have a different idea of what's real and what's not real, as opposed to the general populace of America watching it. And yes, the show can be black and black can be black, but you know, there's things that gotta be right. You know, Pasco's has to be right. Pasco's can't be like a chicken joint like Chick-fil-A. Pasco's was a full-on black-owned hotel, restaurant, nightclub. You know, people had, Hunter Street was a vibrant black business street in Atlanta in the 70s. There were businesses and newspapers and insurance companies and all kinds of things going on. There's a reason that Frank thought Atlanta was about to explode. There's a reason that Chicken Man understood Atlanta was pregnant with possibility, because he knew it. So all these things, when I talked to them about what Atlanta was when I was there, when I got there in '66 through the '70s when this fight happened and people got robbed and things happened, you know, and then people, you know, naturally in the black community, the robbery became way bigger than the robbery was. It was a big deal, and that was a lot of money taken. But you know, the
yards that were spun
blew it all up. You know, Baby lost $2 million up in there, and so got her fur coat took it, taking it. You know she was buck naked in the street, on the drawers on. So all this kind of stuff happened to inflate the story, and it was our job to go in there and take the facts that were already there and to put meat on the bones of the fantasy that people put out there. I mean, even like, you know, my character, Frank's a serious gangster, and he does things, you know, and I had to convince myself to do things that I know Frank Moulton, the person, probably wouldn't do. I mean, I wouldn't kill people in front of this boy. He ain't a gangster, he's scared to be there, but I could threaten him and say, if you tell somebody I killed somebody, but if he told him, oh, I was actually sitting there watching when he blew dude's brains out, that's a whole nother set of circumstances. So I had to do things that made Frank go out of who Frank was because he was so enraged about what was going on around him. But you make those choices as an actor because those choices need to be made for the people who are going to watch it, to invest themselves in who that character is. And, oh shit, I wouldn't fuck with him, you know. But also know that he's smart enough to have a vision for Atlanta, and he's trying to get out of that business in that particular way so that he can gain respect and fulfill the prophecy that his grandparents had given him about what that land means to us and what we invested in it and what we need to get out of it. So you take those chances. But Atlanta, this story is about Atlanta. Yeah, the robbery is, you know, a catalyst for what it was, but this was about people who were in Atlanta trying to get someplace else out of Atlanta. Don's trying to fix the police department for him and his kind, because, you know, my wife's cousin was one of those first 28 cops who were in Atlanta. He dressed at the Y because they couldn't dress at the precinct, and he became the police chief of Atlanta, Elton Bell, at a certain point. And the Chicken Man trying to do this thing for his family because he understands that I'm more than just a numbers guy. I know how to get things done. I collect people. He's a people person. He could end up being that senator who was not a people person. He was just a crook like everybody else. You know, and Frank has this whole thing that his grandparents have told him, you got to take care of the legacy of what we put into this land. That's our blood that's in this land. So make it that. So everybody's trying to do something to make that particular place what they think it's going to be. And it's become that. And it was a hard choice, a hard task for them to shoot Atlanta without showing Atlanta as it has become. But if you go into the hood in Atlanta, it looks the same as it did in the 70s. Those same black houses where the robbery happened and where my wife grew up around the corner from that house where they got robbed, those were houses that belonged to teachers and doctors and all these professionals in Collier Heights. That was like the wushy-wa neighborhood for everybody. You know, and it still looks the same, even though it's not the same stature of what it used to be. But you can go in there and do it and leave those skyscrapers and stuff, because Atlanta's growing up. And it grew out first, because now you ask people, you know, where you from? They say, oh, from Atlanta. They say, oh, where you live? Oh, Marietta. No, that's not Atlanta. You know, so it's grown out to a point, it's now got to grow up, because people are coming to that place like everybody predicted in that movie.
Hollywood South.
Terrence.
Get him.
My shit was important.
Terrence, as Cadillac Richie, not only do you have some of the best swag on film, but I also heard on the red carpet from your hairdresser that you were instrumental in how you wanted your hair to look. So tell us about how important it is that you get the costume right.
Well, for me, I didn't have any pictures of Cadillac Richie. There was no, there's very few pictures or anything out there regarding him. So I had the liberty to expand on or embellish what I thought he would be. You know, his father having worked for Frank for many years, and him being a collegiate all-star with baseball, him having a sense of money and pride. So I was like, okay, he has a bit of flair to him, you know, and then I was born with the genetic coincidence of symmetry, you know, that makes me I was like, well,
Hart.
so what I wanted to do, I figured Farrah Fawcett got her hair from somebody, and the Bee Gees got their hair from someone. So since a lot of our culture has been adapted into other cultures, I just made the natural leap that he had these flowing locks. It worked. Because the moment I put them on, it felt wonderful, and I had to call Craig, and I was like, Craig, can I do Farrah Fawcett hair? Craig was like, I don't know. And they called the producers, and everybody was okay, and Mona made the wig, and the moment I put that wig on, Cadillac Richie came alive. So it was done after that.
As executive producer, you know very well, much more than anyone, that whatever is on the page needs to go on the stage. But you have an ensemble of masters here, and I'm sure their intuition, you have to allow them to go off script a bit, even yourself. But when do you know to take that risk to let them do something that isn't scripted?
Well, you don't say nothing to them. There's no words that you say ever. There's no level of control that any producer has with talent of this caliber. You're bringing this talent to the project because you want the talent to do what they do. And you know that the choices that they make are 9 times out of 10 or 10 out of 10 always going to be the right choices. And they understand what's at stake, which is we want to make an amazing project. We all want to have something that we're extremely proud of. Nobody here is an I-sport player. They're not for self. So with that being said, every scene started with a conversation about the scene. We're talking about what we want to establish, what we want to accomplish, and what the best way to get there. And all questions are asked and they're answered, and then we move on about our day. So it doesn't get more professional than what you're looking at. And the success attached to the resume is there because they know what they're doing. This is A+++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++ And then there's time. So, with that, I'm sorry. It was too nice. I just couldn't leave it there.
I know you can.
I can't.
It's so good. You had to
I just
like
couldn't. I
right
had
back.
to say something. Jesus.
We're gonna go back and start with Terrence and come this way, but I wanna ask you all, because you, again, are all masters of your craft. A lot of the cast members that aren't here are new. They're just getting their sea legs in the industry. So what were the things that you told them the most? Because I'm sure a lot of them are starstruck and acting against your caliber of talent. So Terrence.
Well, I shared with, like Miles Bullock, who doesn't need any advice. He's just a brilliant young man and brilliant actor. He played Cadillac. Willie Black. He played Willie Black, and it has such a powerful presence. But I talked to Dexter and a few of them, and I just reminded them the same things that Richard Dreyfuss told me years ago. He said only one person is going to walk away with the frame. I'm not going to let you take the frame away from me, and don't you let me take the frame away from you. You fight for that frame with everything you got, and then you have a wonderful performance at the end of it. So I shared that, just you battle to the very end for that frame. Yeah. But I mean, like half of the choices that I made in this for Cadillac Richie, Sam would whisper and be like, "Go Papa." Go do this, and I'm picking up. I'm like, no, I'm going to listen to this.
I was fighting for the frame.
I know, but that's how you fight for it. You build up the players, you build everybody up, and then now everybody's on a level playing field, and you swing with the best thing you got. And lots of times you knock folks out, and then sometimes people slip you with something. So we're all battling for the frame. Me and Taraji have been at war for 3 decades.
Finally won the wig war, Terrence.
Well, we've been in so many productions and have worked off of each other, and every day you just try and build up the next person, build up the next thing. I was just explaining to Don that he did something in the episode that blew me away because I thought he had lost it by making a choice, and then he came around and did something later on that I had no expectation he would do. So it's that trough of experience that somebody's able to pull up and the building up from each other. So it's really a collaborative effort that what we do. It's an ensemble, and it should remain an ensemble. And at the end of the day, there is going to be a star from it, but everybody should fight for that frame.
Keep it brief, Sam.
Sam.
Don't listen to that. I show up. When it's time for me to be on set. I try to be in there, as soon as I can possibly be in there. I go in there, I do rehearsal. I look the other actors in the eye and, try and tell the truth. And as the young actors are there, I treat them with the respect of, veterans. I don't act like they're, young actors. I just go at them like I'm supposed to go at them, and gently into the actor space. That, okay, give me the best you got. Let me hear what that is. Okay, and if you respect me as a veteran, or people always give me that whole legend shit. It's kind of like, I'm just an actor in here trying to do something with you, and if you give me what you got, I'm gonna give you what I have, and if it's not enough, I'm gonna ask you for some more, and if you believe me, don't be afraid to comment, give it to me, because I want it, because I can only get better, I can only be as good as you are in the midst of this, of us telling this story together, and that's how I like to be. So I work by example. I show up, I hit my marks, I say my lines, I give the other people the space they need to do what they need to do, and let them watch me do that, and understand that, no actor's better than the other actor that's in here. If you got 3 lines or you got 30 lines, everybody can do it. That's all I have to do. I can only work by example, and even if I don't talk to them or they come to me later and go, "Oh man, that was amazing," I go, I'm enjoying watching you work. I want to encourage them or pull them in. Or when I saw them last night at the premiere, because you don't work with everybody. I didn't work with all those young actors, but I watched all the episodes, so when I saw them, I made sure to let them know, hey, I believed you, I loved you, thank you for doing what you did.
Basically, I don't care what the cell phone says. That's exactly everything Sam said because he's not gonna let me say what I have to say, so please. I literally am the example, you know, I have questions, I answer, you know, I get a lot of, it was the young lady, Teresa, what's Teresa's last name? Teresa Celeste, who I thought did an amazing job. She was my right hand with the big afro. What was her character's name again? Maxine, yes. She did a great job. And she's very new. And I just remember I like to tell them a little bit behind the business stuff, because what happens is when you first start, you're so happy to be there. You're just so happy to have a call sheet and tell your mom and your family what channel you're gonna be on. And so, you know, I'm always trying to prevent them from making the wrong choices like I did, you know. And so I'm always, you know, stressing, who's your team? You know, are they fighting for you? Are they bringing you jobs, or are they answering phones, taking 5%? So I had them start to think like that. And I'm like, what else do you want to do? It can't be just acting. We're the weakest link. Are you building a brand? What happens when a strike comes next year? What you gonna do? Are you gonna be ready? What else you got? Stop waiting for somebody to open or build your own door. Like people are trying to and maybe hopefully you open a door for somebody else, like we've all done up here. So that's usually my messaging.
For me, it kind of depends on who they are, because if they're close to my type, I try to tell them things that will. I try to sabotage them. There's not that many roles out there, guys. And if you're good looking, I really go at it. I mean, I did have the opportunity to work with Dexter Darden, who played Ali. We were together a lot, and we had a lot of scenes together, and we're off set a lot of times together. You know, went to dinner, went to lunch a lot, and just hung out a lot. And Miles Buller and Saint Croix, spent a lot of time with those guys too. And it is, you know, as you say, there's a level of, you know, wide-eyedness about them, and they're saying, you've been in this for this long, OG, you've done this, and what's like this, what's this like? And again, I feel like Taraji said, all of us up here, I think there's a generosity, and you know, I admire them too, and admire their grind, and do try to pull their coat about certain things, about the business, and certain pitfalls and traps that we may have fallen into to look out for, and make sure that you are watching your own back. I tell every actor to write, to try to be a writer. You know, read as much as you can, write if you can. It just helps with everything, to understand story, to make your own way potentially. You know, I've written a movie that I've produced and directed, so don't just sit around and be inactive and keep your hand out. I think just working begets work. Just digging into it begets work. So that's what I tell them. I just try to be a good
I mean, it's very hard to go outside the lines of what was said because it's all true. I think for me, it's just more of a level set. You know, when you hear the stories of like acting jobs that became war zones because people didn't get along, or some people showed up and treated this person or talked to this person this way. I personally don't know how those rooms exist. I've never been involved in one because I believe in a level set. So how you show up and how you respond or engage is what people 9 times out of 10 follow suit on, right? And if we are the leads and we are the examples of A-list or, you know, whatever you would refer to us as, well, we got a job to do, and our job is to set a tone for that younger generation that is in this project, to show them what professionalism and great energy looks like, and they'll feed off of it. So I look at this project as one of those projects where you can see a baton being passed in real time. Like, you just heard about a lot of the young talent that is involved in Fight Night, but that's the future of this business. That's the future presentation and culture that we have and that we're gonna be leaning on and looking at. So to say that we work with them and that we were a part of the early stages of their career is dope. It's a dope thing. To tell them that they're the future, to tell them that understand your moment, make the most of these moments, and don't look at any of them as small stages. They're all big. They're all great opportunities. Continue to maximize and continue to go forward. That energy is dope because they leave with a great understanding of who you are, and they then transfer that energy in the projects after to who they work with because they saw it here. So I learned a lot from watching how they approach their job. I'm a sponge still at this stage in my career, and you voice that. So information feeds off the information, and I think to everybody's point that we just made, it's about giving information, but more importantly, it's just setting the tone and being a good person. When you're a good person who loves what you do, people will see that, respond to that, and follow suit. So that's what we all are examples of, and that's what we did. And I think that's why we got the result in the project from the younger talent.
To stay a good writer, you have to read more and you have to write more. So as actors, what do you do to stay sharp? What do you have to do daily?
Cocaine.
Yeah. What did she say, Don? She said yes. What did you say? How do we keep it sharp?
Oh, how do you keep sharp?
Oh, I was tough to answer that.
Did you just stay? You stay on it.
You spoke on it a bit. You said writing because it helps you develop stories, but is there anything else? Actors, what do they do daily?
I just hire sharp people. I don't do anything. You hire sharp people. No, I think practicing your craft comes with a daily routine of some sort at the beginning, right? Like, what are you doing to work on your craft? Some people study, some people have acting coaches, some people take classes. For us, reading material, watching material, those are ways to keep your mind sharp and keep you in a place where you're engaged and aware of what's going on in the craft that you're partaking in. So for me, it's just the practice. The practice is the routine. And it's putting myself in an environment to always be around it. So stand-up comedy, of course, is my first weapon of mass destruction. I can say, because of stand-up comedy, interviewing, hosting, journalism, radios, there's so much that you can do that just keeps you in the space of talking, engaging. So that when you do go on set, you're never starting over. You don't ever want to feel like you got to get back on the bike and be slow again. You always want to feel like you're at the top of your game. So continue to work on the craft and answer what that is for you when you know your craft. In our place, it's writing, reading, watching.
And I would honestly say, really, it's also taking care of your instrument. You know, really taking care of yourself.
And we do cocaine.
Get your nose game right.
That's right. If you want to make it, that's how you make it.
Be careful about the cut.
Yes, be careful.
Get the good shit.
That's not on, is it?
Are they recording that? Wait a second, Don. Jesus Christ. Yeah, we didn't know that they were recording this. Jesus. We're finished. We're finished. Oh my God.
Okay, thank you
I'm
all.
so sorry.
Please, audience, stay in your seats while this stellar cast makes their exit.
Thank you all. Thank you so much.